So the story says HBO bosses use secret fake accounts to troll TV critics.
This is the story of a catty 13-year-old girl being put in charge of one of the biggest media companies.
Except for it's a guy, and his name is Casey Bloys, and he's the president of original programming at HBO. And boy,
he was, but now he's the CEO.
But boy, can this guy not take a critique from a critic? The people who are usually on their side.
It's most confusing that he isn't directly involved in making any of these projects, yet he feels so strongly about all of them. You would think it would be the directors or the writers or the actors that would see these criticisms and get all bent out of shape about it. But he, having nothing to do with it aside from being the president of the company, is so offended.
Not even of the company, of the division.
That he has deployed an army of fake shell accounts to send like tepid clapbacks to TV critics and anonymous comments.
The worst part, and we'll get into it, the worst part about this, the biggest crime is the clapbacks are bad. They're not even good. So it also involves Kathleen McCaffrey, who is the senior vice president of drama programming, and Sully Tamori, who is the one who's suing. He is the staffer.
Tamori is doing this lawsuit for wrongful termination and discrimination against HBO. That's why these text messages have come out. He's accusing them of discriminating against him for a mental health diagnosis and accusing them of sexual harassment.
They don't say what the mental health diagnosis was.
They don't. But I guess we'll get to that later. What's more funny is the fact that these text messages came out in the legal proceedings. And he didn't intend for these to ever become known to the public, and now they're just denying each and every allegation.
No, this is.
But then Kathleen McCaffrey wouldn't deny that she wrote some of these tweets or some of these
under
text messages.
A pseudonym named Kelly Shepard, who is apparently an herbalist from Texas, and the picture is just a stock photo of a woman.
Well, they got this employee to make a sock account to tweet these clapbacks at different critics from Rolling Stone or New York Times.
I'm gonna put it on
whoever
screen here.
had anything bad to say about The Idol or any of their other shitty shows that they put out. So Kelly Shepard is a stock image photo used by many corporations. Just a random woman who never intended to be embroiled in this controversy.
Do you ever think?
And her bio says she, her, mom, Texan, herbalist, aromatherapist, vegan.
Do you ever think about those pictures now you see when people, those poor men and women who have done modeling for blank shirts that get like slogans put on them, that get just awful slogans written on them now?
No clue.
And they have no clue that it's like hate has a place here is now like a shirt you could probably buy, and that person now looks like he wears, and he's smiling. He's like in the picture. He and or she are smiling in a photo.
You take a gamble if you become a stock image.
It's basically like if you're a shirt model for like those blank shirts that can have things put on it. It's like the modeling version of like when they say don't ever like hold up a blank sign, like because somebody's gonna write something awful on that sign and you're gonna end up being the co-signer of whatever that was. Here's what the first person was: Alan Sepinwall
from the Rolling Stone. He didn't like HBO's The Nevers. I never heard of this.
This was a Joss Whedon show. So what's funny about this is I didn't watch the show. But Joss Whedon was embroiled in his scandal right as this was going on
in 2021.
Right? In 2021.
I don't know about this scandal.
So he's been known to be a very very it would take an hour to get into basically. He was called
He just was called a jerk. He was mean to
people on set and had very like a like what they called is like professionally abusive
like
behavior.
A diva, but for a guy.
Like it
pretty much.
Yeah, it was never along the lines of anything Me Too, but it was definitely like he was not allowed to be alone in a room with Michelle Trachtenberg because he'd make her cry.
Oh wow!
Like,
so. Alan Sepinwall from Rolling Stone said that The Nevers is very messy for both creative reasons and an accumulation of the real-world allegations against Joss Whedon. And Kelly Shepard, who was actually this grunt employee at HBO, said, Alan is always predictably safe and scared in his opinions. This is the clapback that they brainstormed together. These executives just high on coke, like you said, Brett. just brainstorming together for the perfect clapback, and this is the best that they could come up with.
Maybe they weren't on coke, because if they were on the drugs, they'd probably be better. So maybe that's
Actually,
what
you're right.
it is. It's like this is the downside of a drug-free workplace.
I feel like usually like the Beatles talked about this, when you're on drugs and you make something, you think it sounds really good, and then when you're sober, you're like, this is absolute crap.
You get
So that
sober
could
and then
be
you
it
look
too.
at your clapbacks on Twitter and you're like, this didn't really do what it was supposed to.
My video editing was always way more awesome when I was just out of my gourd.
Interesting.
The Kelly Shepard account also replied to anonymous commenters, just complete nobodies, not TV critics, just random people. Because Casey Bloys, in all of his free time as the CEO of HBO Max, just decided to scroll Twitter all day looking for comments to be mad at. Someone said, I don't know what they said about it. They said they criticized the Nevers again. And Kelly Shepard said, answer, don't get your panties in a bunch. The show just started.
Oh my goodness.
And then another
like
one
someone's
said,
mom trying
how
to clap back.
shocking that two middle-aged white men are shitting on a show about women.
So think about this. A white guy asked these people to write a comment about middle-aged white guys being bad for crapping on a show about women. It's almost like a weird type of inverse
Hypocritical.
Male guilt?
Like it's inverse guilt and chivalry, because he's using his own white identity to crap on a white identity in defense of women. Not really, because he's just a weirdo, but
Yeah.
it's funny.
And they also replied to Alan Sepinwall again when he gave a bad review to Mayor of Easttown, saying, Alan missed on Succession and totally misses here because he's busy virtue signaling. Virtue signaling how?
She has her the fake profile.
You're
has
literally
she, her,
a
in the
she, her,
pronouns.
and
They should
vegan
have
in
just
your
hired
bio.
like a 13-year-old girl to write these clapbacks.
She would have done a better job.
Yeah, even more
They should say jealousy is a disease,
way
bitch.
better.
Get well soon. That's what they should have said.
hire
The
Mary.
best version would be like Casey Bloys hires his 13-year-old niece to write clapbacks to people on Twitter and pays her in gaming currency.
Yeah.
That would be great.
It's just the way that they text each other. It sounds like middle school girls gossiping about their friends.
Yeah. I mean, but
One said, Casey is looking for a tweeter. He's mad at Alan Sepinwall. Can our secret operative tweet at Alan's review? Alan is always predictably safe and scared in his opinions. Then we have to delete this chain, right? OMG, I got scared just now. LOL.
Oh my God.
it is fair to point out that beyond just making fun of all this, be aware of just how much your opinion actually does matter to these people. Because if they didn't believe that criticism was going to affect the work, they wouldn't employ methods like this.
I mean, really, this is just one guy having an out-of-control ego, but that's incredibly common in the entertainment industry. And that proves the fact that Rotten Tomatoes had its scandal for a reason.
Yep.
And they found out that, 13% of the reviews for... What was it? It was like 13% of the reviews for The Idol were fake.
Yeah. And it proves that they actually do think that these things matter. The buzz a show creates online matters. Now, he's pushing back here, hoping that it will build up steam for people who are coming like, yeah, I did like Mayor of Easttown or whatever the hell it was.
Who is paying
Yeah.
attention to one bot account?
Yeah. And I watched a couple episodes of the first show that he's talking about in there, not the Nevers, but the one, Perry Mason, which was the first thing he was talking about in there. High production value. I didn't think it was very good. But just these studios absolutely use methods like this. And don't think for a second that he's the only person or this is the only studio that does this. They all do this. There is too much power in social media clout. There is. I would
Yeah.
imagine that this is a very common occurrence.
It says,
I do also
the
love how
messages
fake the name
provide
is.
a rare peek behind the scenes of television's upper brass and executives' concerns about how audiences react to online chatter about content. In the ever increasingly anonymized digital age, it's a growing suspicion that PR firms and individual directors have used troll and bot accounts and other methods to combat lackluster reviews, turn the tide of conversation, drum up support for a social media campaign, or in this instance, be petty. But that's the thing. You can't artificially drum up support for a show if people either don't like or haven't heard of it.
Yeah. But it also, think about what they were saying about Justin Timberlake and bot accounts. Like, this is going to happen in all areas of entertainment now, not just in movies and television. There's too much clout behind getting an anonymous group of people to seemingly be on your side.
Yeah.
I saw this tweet that said like 90% of the red pill tweet accounts that you find on X will probably be Indian call center employees behind the scenes. That's why you shouldn't pay attention to discourse on the internet, because like most of it's fake.
Yeah.
I bet like a lot of the Amber Heard supporters are fake. It's her probably trying to get
I'm
herself
sure a
back
lot of the
into,
Depp supporters were fake
Aquaman.
too.
Yeah. Swing both sides. In any conflict.
Oh, I would buy more. I think more that the Johnny Depp support was more organic, and then they wanted to use bot accounts to try and drum up support to get people to shift, because they felt a shift in the public sentiment through bot accounts.
I'm not going to say like which side this was asking me to post, but I was offered money to post about the Israel-Hamas conflict.
Oh, wow.
Like for paid posts in a certain window of time.
That's insane.
I'm not going to say which
wild.
side they
Yeah.
were asking to pay me for, but yeah, like I was like, oh, so when I look at all of these influencers that are posting all day these TikToks about awareness for either side, you have to think about it, like who are they getting checks from?
There's a fantastic Ryan Long bit here, I bet, that he could do where he gets it from both sides.
Yeah.
He's like,
He gets like
a
one
banking-
brand deal
I
offer
mean,
from the IDF and
Is
one
that
from
not
Hamas,
what
and
the
he doesn't
banking
know what to
families
do.
do? Literally, like they just get paid by both sides.
he's like, look, I take money from this side to talk about how great Israel is. I take money from this side to talk about how we need to free Palestine. He's like, you gotta.
You know what? I'll
this
take
economy,
money from Disney to give Snow White a positive review. Just throwing that out there. If anyone at Disney has a good offer for me, I will just give a glowing review to Rachel Zegler, regardless of the content and the quality.
She's like, I can talk
I'll
myself
sell
into
out.
it.
I'll sell out. There's just a number.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name the number. You have to come
clearly
up with
that number wasn't high enough.
Yeah.
That's why.
No,
you're
the
telling
number
us
they
that.
gave me was not high enough.
Pathetic, she said.
For Snow White,
What was,
yes.
Wait, what was the number?
You don't have to. You don't want to.
It was in the hundreds. It was not in the thousands.
Oh yeah, no.
So no.
Come
I
back
was
when you
not-
got more zeros.
Like, that's
on the
more
end of that.
That's more insulting than anything.
Yeah,
Like, you think I'm worth
absolutely.
2 zeros? That's just
We'll give you $150.
That's
Yeah.
just
Sell
sad.
your soul.
That's,
Like,
they're like,
raise
if
the
I'm
stakes
gonna become
a
a
little
shill,
bit.
I'm gonna become a shill for enough money, right? Like that's just
Throw in
gotta
a
be
free
able to-
vacation
yeah.
and a timeshare for
I gotta
me.
be able to like retire off this one, please.
Yeah.
I just think it should be taken into account when you look at the discourse for TV shows and movies, because a lot of what we talk about is how people perceive these things. My favorite part is like the name, the Kelly Shepard account name is literally Kelly SH3388936.
Right.
Oh my
Like you
gosh.
couldn't even get like a Kelly Shepard was here at like.
They didn't even try.
No.
You know what? That's why they should have terminated that employee, because he wasn't putting in enough effort to his
didn't do
side
his
job.
It was one of the
You know,
suggested Twitter names.
So what he claimed about his termination was that they kept taking away his normal responsibilities to have him do lesser things and make it easier to fire him. Make it easier to justify firing him. So one of the things they had him do was watch over foster kittens on the floor of his boss's office all day. And they said, we're doing this to help his mental health.
Get it? Because he said he was mentally ill.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of these people are the ones posturing about mental health awareness and wokeness and accepting people for their gender expressions and all of this stuff. Behind the scenes, they're all just assholes.
yeah, that sounds like something you would hire someone to do who already has like mental health like issues or disabilities, not like your executive or your
Corporate jobs are starting
This
to
was not-
resemble
this
daycare
was,
more.
This
and
was not
more.
an executive. This is the employee. This is the Sully Tamori guy who was the intern who was asked to make these tweets.
Gotcha.
About this isn't the executive.
Shouldn't he be
Uh-huh.
more embarrassed that he took these orders than Casey should be?
It's funnier if they were doing the. Have you ever seen the meme that says like, it's like my mom tricked me into helping clean up by telling me I was really, really good at cleaning dishes.
Yeah.
And years later, I didn't realize the grift until years later when I was like, wow, she's like, wow, you're really good at doing those dishes. And so you want to like help every time.
Right.
They're like, wow, you're really good at sending those fake tweets. Like, you're just like, you're the best at
Those are
sending
zingers.
those fake tweets there. Could you do that more? As a way of like getting him to want to do this task.
I don't know why Casey couldn't have done the dirty work himself.
Yeah.
If he wanted to tweet so bad, why don't you just do it on your own account?
Would have had to have gotten a second phone with a. He'd have to get a burner. Like
More
now he's starting to
steps.
sound like a spy, but he's really just talking about this TV show that nobody cares about.
I never
have, like,
heard
mediocre
of most of
clapbacks.
these.
Yeah.
I heard of The Idol.
Yeah, that's the only one I've heard of.
The other ones, never heard of them in my life. So clearly HBO is doing something wrong. If
What-
they're not marketing these shows.
Yeah.
What Casey should have done is just not read the comments. That's what he should have done.
Yeah, but I
Greatest
mean,
advice.
if you care that much, go on your public account and clap back at them.
Luffy is God says, so he made bad tweets and got to play with kittens. I want his job.
Dude, same. But honestly, he should be more embarrassed that he is admitting to the world that he took these orders, hoping to like climb the corporate ladder at HBO.
And now he's filing a lawsuit so that he's also suing The Weeknd as well as all these other people because of the show.
Yeah.
He was
The
involved
Idol.
in the show, the Idol. But just be wary. Everything you see on the internet these days is in fact fake. None of it's real. All those videos we saw earlier of the woman making the video about dating, fake. This story, fake. Gina Carano, probably fake too. No, I don't. All of
the one real thing on the internet.
Everything seems
What is
fake.
real?
Everything
Right.
seems fake these days. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.